Now, a name from the early days of British rock is back in the charts. The famous Cliff Richard band The Shadows were reformed to represent Britain in the 75 Eurovision Song Contest, and before the contest took place, the UK entry was in the bestsellers. Let Me Be the One.
Let me be the one who's loving you tonight. Let me be the one who really holds you tight. I'll even bring along a magic moon just to make you feel alright. So let me be the one who's loving you tonight. Let me be the one who takes you by the hand. Let me be the one who always understands. Everybody knows we've been good friends, but I think the time is right. So let me be the one who's loving you tonight. You and I could have an affair, make sweet music, go anywhere, building highways, taking us there. As long as I know you really care, won't you show me you care? Oh, come on, let me be the one who's loving you tonight. Let me be the one who really holds you tight. I'll even bring along a magic moon just to make you feel alright. So let me be the one who's loving you tonight. Let me be the one who always understands. Everybody knows we've been good friends, but I think the time is right. So let me be the one who's loving you tonight. Let me be the one who's loving you tonight. Tonight, 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 tonight.
Let Me Be the One, the only band in the business that's nearly as old as I am, The Shadows. Well, as you know, The Shadows are back together and on our show this week. At the session, Bruce Welch and Hank Marvin talked to interviewer Stevie Dixon, who asked Hank whether he'd considered it an honour to be chosen to represent Britain in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Well, I think it's a challenge, particularly, maybe not for other people who've done it in the past, but for us, because having not worked together as the Shadows for so long, to be asked to do it, I think was a real vote of confidence. And it's been good for us because we've had a chance to get together working on the 6 songs from which the winning song was chosen. They were good songs, we enjoyed working on them, trying to do the best for them, and it's created a lot of interest in the Shadows again. It was interest which was there, but now we're actually working together, it's sort of blossomed.
Shadows, in fact, for anyone who doesn't know, have been together for 17 years, is that right?
Yeah, this is our
58,
17th year, in fact, isn't it? It sounds a long time, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
But we're only 21 now. We started when we were 4.
Right, what I was going to ask you is, what do you attribute this? I mean, you must be very compatible to get on for that long.
No, we were together for 10 years when the Shadows broke up, and we spent, how many years? About 2 years, not seeing very little of each other. Then Bruce and I got together, wrote some songs. We did the Marvin Welch and Farah stint with John Farah, of course, who's now also with the Shadows. So I think that the couple of years away from each other helped, because we've come back to each other, forgetting all each other's faults and how boring we all are.
Originally, you came to fame, of course, with Cliff Richard. Now, how much of a help was that, being with Cliff, or was it a help?
Well, I think it was obviously a tremendous help, because really, by being with Cliff, who was then the rock star in Britain and indeed most of Europe, we were being introduced to the public, because Cliff, one, always made a point of introducing us on stage, not to each other because we already knew each other, but to the audiences. He used to always mention us in interviews, so he in fact was building up a kind of a name for us by always pushing us forward. Also, we had the chance to be able to develop what became known as the Shadows sound, the way we played together, developing the sort of so-called choreography on stage. That all came about really through playing behind Cliff. And of course, by the time we got the hit record with Apache, I mean, even by then, you see, the fans knew our individual names. I mean, they used to look at Bruce and shout out, "Jet!"
Rubbish.
But in those early 60s days, you were playing Foot Tapper, Apache, all the great songs. And you in fact, were copied by, thousands of groups throughout Britain, in fact. Even more so than the Beatles or Elvis Presley was.
No, I think really, we just happened to arrive with that sort of sound at that time, which when people were just waiting for something to... The guitar was just starting to come in. The electric guitar was just coming in as a big popular instrument, and we just happened to get in at the right time, and with the sound that people wanted to copy.
And the right song at the time.
The right tunes.
The right tune.
Hank Marvin and Bruce Welch talking to Stevie Dixon. And here's how the Shads sound in 1975.
How do I begin? What more can I say? She's upset your life and thrown it all away. Though you seem surprised to know what she has done, I've seen it in her eyes. It's plain to everyone. Why don't you stand up like a man? Why don't you stand up like a man? Don't try pretending anymore. And it's no good crying for a love that's dying, 'cause she won't come running like before. You gotta stand up like a man. You gotta stand up like a man. You lost your love and that's for sure. So your life is shaking and your heart is breaking. Don't you know it's happened all before. Time alone can heal and take away the pain. In spite of all you feel, you fall in love again. Why don't you stand up like a man? Why don't you stand up like a man? Don't try pretending anymore. And it's no good crying for a love that's dying, 'cause she won't come running like before. You gotta stand up like a man. You gotta stand up like a man. You lost your love and that's for sure. So your life is shaking and your heart is breaking. Don't you know it's happened all before?
Would you believe the legendary Shadows still going strong? Stand up like a man.